Hey guys, welcome back, or just welcome if you're new. I mainly stream on Twitch, but I've also been creating YouTube videos, and here is one of them. It's great to have you all here, as you can see by the title and the screen itself. Today I thought would be a good idea to go over a speed build that we had done for a barn conversion over on my Twitch channel a few months ago. It's taken a while to find the time to actually edit the video, but I thought we'd go on through it now. So here we dive on in after some discussion whilst I'm streaming to figure out the layout of where we wanted the barn and everything else to be, because it isn't just a barn conversion, there is a little extra area on this lot that we do change, which you can see in a further video, as this is only part 1 out of I believe 4 so far. So first we start by the outer edge and end up building the fencing, which as you can see is the brick wall. And we're trying to figure out where to put the barn, which we end up putting the barn here. But then for some strange reason, the lot dipped where the barn was, so we move the foundation up a bit, replace it, and see if that helps. Which it does, it fixes the issue. But the only other problem that I had as well is I thought it was really big, so we end up changing the size of the barn itself, which I thought was quite a reasonable start. So we then put the second floor on, and then we put the roof on, and try and figure out how we want the roof to look, so how wide we wanted it, how tall we wanted it, and the shape of it, which as you can see we made it a little bit bigger and made it quite round instead of just a straight edged roof. We then ended up going through so many red wallpapers and walling that this game has got. Could not decide what we wanted it to exactly look like using them all. We went through probably about 7 or 8 different types. I wanted it to be the right colour, the right shade, and not look too weird. Like, I did like the look of this one a lot, but I thought it was just a bit too busy. And then here we're just changing the roof colour and putting a roof trim on. I wasn't too sure on what colour to do the roof trim, because I wanted to try out the red, but then I thought it just didn't really suit it, so we just go for the white in the end. So once the roof was the shape and the style that we wanted it, we then go back to trying to figure out what colour we wanted the walls to be, which we still look about all the other options we've got later on as well, because I just was not happy with what we had got at the moment. We then added some decor to the roof. As you can see, we've got the little dial here, which is the north, east, southwest dial, little compass. And then we also add a little chimney at the back, where in the living room at the bottom we end up putting a fireplace. So we do add that to the back also, which there are so many different types of chimneys and everything else you can put on a roof imaginable, which took me a while to decide, but we just go for this little circular one in the end. And we add a little, I had like an envisionment of that having a little bell in it, but obviously it's open, it's not open on the edges, it's closed, so obviously it doesn't have a bell in it, but that's the envisionment that I had anyway. So as you can see, we're still going through the wall, trying to figure out what we want the walls to look like. I did really like that red and white one, but I didn't think the colour of the red suited it. I just wasn't happy with it. So in the end we do end up going for a red wallpaper, but on the corners of where the walls meet it has a white bit on it. And then we end up adding white trims to the actual walls as well. So that's the one that we end up going with, which I do really like. I think the tone of it's nice and it's not too vibrant or dull or anything like that. And I like the white on the edges as well. So once we've done that, we then move on over to the windows and the door on the front. Now I wanted it to look as barn-like as possible, as you can imagine. And we don't really have that many options for a barn looking door. So we did actually go for a doggy door and size it up, but obviously as you can imagine that did not look very good at all. So we still go through quite a few options. That door there, in the end, looks quite small for the size of the actual building itself. So we end up making the wall height number 2, and then we find a different door to put on there, which ends up having glass around the edges, and in my opinion it just looks a bit better. I did like that wooden door, but if it was just a bit bigger I think it would have been a bit better, but in the end we go for that one, and then we figure out whether or not it's dead in the centre. And again, with the windows we had a bit of an issue, because I wanted to make it look as close to what a barn's windows would look like. And obviously we don't have like horses and farms in this game, same with we don't have cars, so it's hard to have stuff for garages. So I was really trying to find windows that would suit what I was going for. So I was trying to put a white round window at the top there, and I wanted it to be quite big, but with move objects on and sizing it up it didn't function, so I had to use a different window, which I didn't want to use, but I ended up using because there's no other options, unfortunately. I would like a bigger window to be able to use, but we end up going with the windows that have wooden shutters on it, because I thought that most barns that I've seen that have been like converted into houses that are local to me, they all seem to have shutters on their windows, so I thought that seems to be quite fitting. I do actually really like those windows, but obviously with the build that we've got, I didn't really think it suited the barn feel, to be honest. So we do just end up going with the windows with the wooden shutters on them. I do actually like those little small rounded windows as well at the top. Again, I don't think they really suit this building, to be honest. So we just end up adding those, which I think suits quite nice, personally, in my opinion. We just go for those white ones up there. So we downsized that window again just to make sure that it's actually functioning as it should be. And we end up picking the platform up slightly, and then we put a foundation around the bottom. As you can see on here as well, the roof length on the edges, on the sides, was quite long, and I didn't think it suited it that well at all. I think I noticed it there, so we end up changing the length of it to be a bit shorter so you can actually see the windows on the side, which I think makes it look a bit better, in my opinion. I didn't want the hangover to be too long and then just cover half of the window. I'm trying to figure out how many windows I want, which we don't end up having too many windows, but we go with those windows on the bottom and then the other windows on the top. Now I wasn't sure if I wanted to like switch the middle up a bit, but now I'm trying to figure out how to get it central so it doesn't look so weird. There we go. So we start placing all the windows on the rest of the barn, making sure that they're all in line. They all line up with one another. Let me know as well in the comments if any of you have tried or want to try the barn conversion. I'd be interested to check out what you've done if you have already done barn conversions. I find it really interesting on what other people's building ideas are. This is how I decided to do the barn conversion. I wanted to do it for a while, but everyone helped me decide to go for the barn conversion, which I thought was a really nice idea, and it was on a really big lot as well. but we ended up filling up all of the space in the end anyway, which was good. So then here we start on the garage outside, and it's not really a garage, but you'll find out in another part what we end up turning that into. But I just thought it'd be nice to have like a little outside area that's not within the house anywhere. I didn't really want to do a basement either, so we've literally only just got 2 floors. So we've got the little garage here. So just trying to make it look as much like a garage as possible. So we start putting the garage doors in. Now these, obviously you can have the garage doors that you can like graffiti on from university, I think. Or like Outdoor Retreat or something. I can't remember which pack it's from, but I just really liked the idea that we could at least add garage doors, considering there's no cars in the game. There's not really many car related things, so as you can see we found a pond as well, so I put that there. And then we found some more garden bits like the heaters and the little campfire and the swing and the, as you can see in the background over there, the little washing line. So we had like a little few bits around as well. I wanted to try and make it as environmentally friendly as possible as well, so I added some solar panels and a windmill as well from the Eco Lifestyle pack. I haven't really delved into the Eco Lifestyle pack as much as I want to. I want to do more on the Eco Lifestyle, but I'm still trying to learn my way around what is actually doing what. Like, I know there are a lot of parts on the Eco Lifestyle that you can do, like the eco footprint of different areas and it being industrial or eco-friendly, and it's just, for me, there is a lot to go through and I haven't had enough time to play that section in depth and actually know exactly what I'm doing. But yeah, we'll probably do a video on that and we can go through that and have a look at all of the different parts and features and everything on there. So here we're having another look and seeing what else we want to add to the garden, or the yard, if you prefer to call it that. I do find it interesting actually to find out what other people call things depending on where they're from. Especially, like, I know that the Americans, like biscuits and cookies, are basically the same thing, I think, but they're different for Americans, I think. Do let me know in the comments. And also let me know where you're from as well. I'd be interested to see where you're all from or watching from. I know as well that obviously there are a lot of packs in this game, and earlier on there was a question raised to me asking me what my favourite pack was. Now, I have a lot of packs that I enjoy for multiple different reasons. I really like Seasons. I really like Get to Work. I also like the Laundry Day pack as well. More so for the gameplay. I also really love Cats and Dogs as well because I love animals. So I can't really just pick one. I love quite a lot. So, but yeah, I'll do like a favourites video and discuss which are my favourites, I think. So here we're just adding some trees and more extra things to the garden. We also added some planter boxes, I think they're called, which you might have seen before, and a scarecrow. We've also got like a little not honey tree thing. It's like a tree that it says you can plant things in and then it will grow loads of random different things. So we've got a little flag there, which I think I end up moving anyway. So we end up moving a few bits around for the garage, which obviously, as I said, isn't a garage. It is actually something else. So we're doing some more here on the garage. I wanted to add a little like patio area or like a hangout / eating area outside here. So we end up doing that in a moment. Trying to figure out what colour to make the roof. I didn't know whether to do the roof the same colour as the barn roof or to make it look like the garage was built after the barn was already there, so like the garage was built after or something. I wasn't really sure, but just moving a few bits around now, as you can see. Now I thought it would be nice as well to have like a little trellising area. Now that took me ages to do. Anything that I tried to do with regards to that just didn't work. So we go through trying to pick what flooring we want. We've got 2 little heaters outside for when it gets cold. So here's the problem that we had with the trellising. Now obviously you have to make a room and then you can put fencing on the top. So you can have like a little see-through trellising area, which I do really like. But for some strange reason, how I tried to do it wasn't actually deleting the roof, it was deleting the floor under it, even though the roof section, like the ceiling, had flooring on it. There, look. So I was like, this is not making sense, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. We do end up doing it in the end, and it does turn out fine, but... Okay, I'm trying to find the roof. So we do the outside. Then we do lines across, which to my knowledge, you can do. That didn't really look that equal, to be honest. But I do all the lines on the roof, like this, or like the trellising area. But then I try and get rid of the flooring, and it just didn't work. So I ended up getting rid of the diagonal bits, and just having the normal bits on the roof, which I thought looked quite nice actually. And then that worked, so I could get rid of the roof, flooring, ceiling, whatever you want to call it. And then we get rid of those bits, put some like posts on the corners, which I think we end up changing anyway. Yeah, there we go, so we've got some normal ones in, but I didn't really like how they went. I thought they just looked a bit too simple, and then I noticed there was like a gap as well from the post or pillar, if you want to call it that, to the actual ceiling fence bit. Oh, here we go, we're just changing out the posts now, or the pillars, whichever you'd rather call them. I wanted to make it look like it fit in more and it had more characteristics to it. So we end up going for like this brick type ones with the wooden pillars on it, which I thought looked quite nice actually. And then we end up starting to think about the layout of the garage compared to how we want it to like trickle into the outer area, eating area. I don't really know what you'd call it, just like a lounging area. There we go, just adding some more heaters, especially for like, as I've got seasons on here, it would be good for making sure that it's not too cold, even though I don't really think they have any purpose and they don't work, but yeah. So here we start looking at the layout of the garage conversion and where we should put the door. We end up putting the door over there on the right, and I didn't really like the way that the flooring of like the patio area just looks so dull, so we end up putting white fencing around it and cutting off a little bit where like the walkway is going to be. So here I had the idea that because of this house being so big and being a barn conversion, I was like, maybe it would be fit for a larger family, and that one or more would have a creative skill and would be able to do like yard sales and garden sales and stuff. So I actually placed a little selling table outside so that they could do that. So here, as you can see, it's looking a little bit dull at the entrance here. So we end up trying to think of different ways that we can make the entrance just look a bit nicer, and what other things that we could add. Like we end up adding hanging flowers by the door, and I can see as well that the door's actually clipping into the wall, so we end up changing the wall height again. But we had those little wall hangings there, and then we also have a look at like the drain pipe section, and then a few other things like the flower boxes that you saw earlier. Just trying to make it look more, not so plain and a bit more realistic. I was also trying to have a look and see if there was any ivy and stuff, as you can see on here, that we could add, but... And then we end up having a look at trying to do the interior kitchen section. But we have to try and figure out where to put the stairs. So I delete that window, and then I have to move some bits about outside. And it took me a while to try and figure out how I wanted the stairs to be. Here we are adding just a bit of ivy on the side there just to make it look not as plain. We end up putting the stairs so that we had still got enough space for like the living area. We end up having like a little laundry area as well, which I'll show in another part as well. This will be possibly a 4-part series. We spent a lot of time on this barn conversion, which took quite a while, so it was really fun to do though. So we end up doing that. I didn't like how it was just a single stair, so I end up changing it to a double stair as well, in the sense of like not just one width, 2 width, which I think fit more as well, to be honest. There we go, we do change it to a 2 width. I thought we did. It just makes it look a bit nicer, I think, not so slim. I wanted it to look quite open plan as well downstairs, so I added a archway, and well, originally I was going to try that, didn't like the look of it, so we end up changing it to an archway. I also thought there was too much room in that living area space there in the back, so we add that little laundry area over onto the right, but just adding some light so we can sort out the interior. Now I will just say I am not an interior designer at all, and I have no idea what I'm doing. I just went with what I thought went well and what I thought looked nice. I tried to pair things together to keep the kitchen looking quite warm, rustic yet homey as well. Now's the time to try and figure out the kitchen. It always, because I'm such an indecisive person, it took me quite a while to figure out what I wanted to do with the kitchen. I know I wanted it to have a big island counter in the middle, because obviously with it being a larger family, I wanted to have enough space so that if they had like parties and stuff, there was enough space for everybody. But it did take me a while to try and figure out exactly what we wanted to do with the kitchen, colour-wise, just like exactly which ones to use. So I wanted the kitchen and the dining area to be quite big, and I wanted the living area to be quite spacious as well, as you can see on the other side, so I was keeping it as open as possible. And I was thinking of it being quite orangey in the kitchen. Don't know why, I just thought that went with like the barn conversion vibes of it looking kind of revamped up from what it maybe would have been once upon a time. It took me a while as well. That wall there, like the partitioning wall that goes into the living area, that took me a good old while to figure out which wood and the colour of it that I wanted. I end up also experimenting with a flooring that I've never used before, but there was a flooring that I chose that I'd never used before, which I thought was quite nice. I don't know why, I'd never used it before, and I thought it quite fit nicely. I thought it just fit quite nicely in with the vibes of the area and everything, and what I wanted that area to look like as well. If referring to the island counter, we do also in that room, because you'll see in a minute just how big the island counter is, we have a dining area, but as I said, I wanted there to be enough space so that if this family had many friends that they invited so many people around, that way there would be enough space for everybody. So I think in the end we end up having like 4 or 5 bedrooms, and I think there is like a toddler room that we end up having as well. So it's a big family. I really like those counters as well. I think they're from Parenthood. I really like Parenthood's homey furniture, but sometimes I just find it hard to use it all. I also liked the idea of having 2 fridges and 2 cookers as well. I know in some really big family homes they do actually tend to have 2 fridges and 2 cookers, 2 freezers, potentially sometimes 2 sinks. You know, I thought that was too small, but I end up making it even bigger. I don't think it looks too big though. Like, I do think it fits the space. It is quite large. If you think about it, a normal little like townhouse would be the size of just that front section of that house, of the barn conversion itself. So you would literally just have like a kitchen, living room, dining room, and an office space downstairs with the stairs in the middle. And then upstairs I have like 3 bedrooms or 4 bedrooms with a bathroom. Just in that section where the kitchen and the dining area is going to be. Well, that's what it's like in England anyway. Quite small compared to this house. I thought it'd be funny as well to see what the chef's kitchen unit would look like, and I don't really think that it went well at all, and it was too big. So we ended up just keeping to the 2 cookers instead, which I thought looked quite nice. There's a lot of decorative area as well on here, like microwaves and coffee machines and all the decorative like flowers and fruit bowls and everything else that we had in the end. As I said, it is a very big island count. Just trying to figure out what chairs. I remember it taking quite a while to find out what chair, like the high chairs I wanted for this, because I wanted it to look quite cozy and not too modern yet farmy. If that makes any sense at all. And as I said, I'm not an interior designer, so there we go. So that brings us to the end of part 1 of our barn conversion speed build. Please make sure that you like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and if you wish to download this, the link will be in the description of the last part, so make sure you stay tuned. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.